Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on just the Flash movie, but also most of the DC film stuff as well, because it seems to just fold in on each other nowadays. You know, we're about to head into the year of 2023 in just under a week, which hopefully is a bigger and better year for everyone, but specifically for DC when it comes to the film or movie side of things, it is quite a big one. Probably the biggest one in a while. Like, I can't remember a year as big as this one from memory. Now, whether the movie's coming out next year will actually be relevant in the long run is still a wait and find out, and a big question and situation for most people, just due to the changes going on, over at DC and Warner Brothers as well on the film side. But there are 4 live action films coming out, which, as I said before, I think is the most they've ever done in one single year. There might have been one no, it'd have to be I'm trying to remember, I think 3 might have been the biggest before. So yeah, I think 4 is the most they've ever done. So it will be interesting to see how all of that goes and how it's spaced out and everything like that. Now, the biggest of these 4 in most people's eyes is that of the Flash film. Of course, we've been waiting for this film for a million years. It's ridiculous. It's been delayed and pushed back and ridiculous stuff like that. But it looks like it's finally coming out. Now, we did get some small promo material stuff that was used on merchandise and all that a few weeks back. But the one thing that people are waiting on is actual visual promo material that will catch most people's eyes. And we seem to be getting our first information on that in regards to when it's coming out, and that is apparently that the first trailer is dropping, the first trailer for the Flash movie is dropping at the Super Bowl in February. Now, Warner Brothers usually doesn't do the Super Bowl with trailers and stuff like that. They haven't done one for a while, at least. I think it might be over a decade that they've done it. I think I was reading something like that. I don't know what the last movie they did was, but it was a while ago. But the Super Bowl would only be weeks before Shazam 2 hits theaters as well. So you get the public eyeballs on the movie and the trailer from the Super Bowl, and then it's the trailer plays in theaters alongside Shazam and I guess other films like that in the lead up to the release of the Flash film in late June. Now, I don't know if they are going to play the full trailer that they have, or just a condensed and edited down one with a longer one to be released online either at the same time or a couple of hours later. I'm not too sure. But as I said, Warner Brothers haven't done a Super Bowl trailer release in a while, so there isn't really much to go off in regards to what they would or normally could do. But I remember, I think it was last year, I think it was for Doctor Strange 2, they released trailers for this, or a trailer for the Super Bowl, but they released 2 different trailers, I think it was. A shorter one, which obviously played during the Super Bowl ad break, and then a slightly longer one online as well. I might be wrong, but it was something in that ballpark, something like that. So that could be the same stuff that we have going on the Flash film trailer as well, when it eventually, hopefully, airs during the Super Bowl in February. Now, I don't know if they're going to release anything else, or they're just going to focus on the Flash, because it is as I've said for a while, the potential, if not likely, billion-dollar film for next year. It's Warner Brothers' best chance at a billion-dollar film next year. You still got Aquaman at the end of the year, but Flash is the one out of those 4 movies coming out next year that has the best chance. So they're going to be putting a lot of focus on that. So I don't know if you'd get a Super Bowl thing for Blue Beetle, which only comes out, I think, 2 months after the Flash. And then Shazam, as I said, only comes out a handful of weeks after the Super Bowl as well. So, well, actually, they might do something for Shazam, but the Flash trailer would be the first proper one. So that would be the big thing that they're dropping. So they could still do something for Shazam. It just matters on the cost, because obviously it's pretty expensive to, advertise during the Super Bowl. Now, there was some interesting stuff that came out for the Flash over the past couple of weeks roughly. And the main stuff was that apparent news that the Wonder Woman and Superman cameos were being removed from the Flash film, according to some of the more popular outlets like the Hollywood Reporter and stuff like that. Now, the Superman one somewhat makes sense when you just look at the fact that is known now that Henry Cavill will not be Superman anymore moving forward under James Gunn, but he had recorded a cameo for the Flash film, which apparently was recorded around the same, or if not at the same period of time as a Black Adam cameo as well. But the Wonder Woman one is pretty surprising for a couple of reasons. The first being that Gal Gadot is apparently still the Wonder Woman for the films. James Gunn sort of stepped in to say, oh no, we're hearing that, she's not left. Though things can change very quickly. I mean, the Henry Cavill situation is a perfect example of that. We had the Black Adam end credits scene with his return as Superman. Then Henry publicly announced his return for the future of Superman on social media. And then a month later, he has to announce that he is not going to be Superman anymore. So that could be the same for Wonder Woman and other characters moving forward. Who knows? Now, the thing that's pretty hard with the Wonder Woman cameo and its removal is that the cameo is pretty hard to remove from the Flash, apparently, from what people are saying. And according to, you know, people that are in the know outside of those Hollywood reporters, and apparently like people connected to the set, it isn't happening. Like, they're not removing Wonder Woman's cameo, because apparently it's like at the beginning, and it's like a Justice League scene at the beginning of the film of the Flash movie. So you can't just remove those characters because they're pretty vital for that scene to work. Otherwise, you're just gonna unless they're just gonna remove that scene completely, which I don't see them doing, because it's like your big opening spectacle scene, and then I think it's them trying to like convince Barry not to go back in time or whatever it is, which then causes Flashpoint. So I don't see that being removed. I guess you could maybe remove the Superman stuff if he did a cameo for that, but the Wonder Woman stuff seems pretty vital. And also with Wonder Woman and Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, if you remove the Flash one, then you have to remove her stuff from Shazam. But the Shazam one is like a vital one story-wise. Like, I think it already came out. There's a running joke throughout the film. I think it's about Freddy dreaming of Wonder Woman or something along those lines. And Gal Gadot is in that film. Like, they have to pay off that joke. So, and it's like throughout the entire film, like that storyline. Like, she's not in the movie. It's not brought up a lot of times, but it's like a through line throughout the entire film. So you can't cut that either. I don't know if you'd be able to cut the Flash one, but not cut the Shazam one. And because the only reason you'd cut the Wonder Woman one from the Flash is because Gal Gadot's not going to be Wonder Woman anymore. But you can't cut it from the Shazam. So they're caught in a pickle there if they are going to get rid of Gal Gadot, because they're going to have to straight up keep one, and then the other one they probably have to flip a coin. But even then, it still has to be in the film because it's pretty vital to the opening of the Flash movie. It's a bit of a headache. But speaking of the Flash movie, this is a big question that's going to run through all of next year, even after the Flash movie comes out potentially. And that's whether the events of the Flash will reboot the universe for James Gunn, and Blue Beetle and Aquaman are maybe retooled potentially, if they want it to, you know, play into stuff going forward, to loosely fit into that new universe canon and the storyline going on there. So maybe remove certain visual stuff, or, you know, verbal references or whatever it might be to the stories from the past, and maybe plant in some ones for stuff going forward. So you could maybe reference characters like Superman and Batman, maybe even Wonder Woman, and certain characters like that in ways that are similar to what you had in the past, but are also slightly different from before. So you could mention a character that maybe died or something, or that has never appeared before, and Superman was fighting him, or Batman was fighting him, or whatever it might be. Now, of course, they wouldn't be like major references or anything like that. They'd just be like visual references, like you could put in like news reports or like news articles, and it's just stuff that James Gunn potentially might want to be, you know, planting to make it seem like it's alive and active in this world. Like, even for a hero, for example, you could have something about like Green Lantern being an active and known character within the world, or something like that. Like, Green Lantern stops comet or meteorite hitting Coast City, or whatever it might be, something along those lines. But they'd be really minor things and almost like blink and you'll miss them moments. So they might not be like the top of the agenda list in regards to what to do. So that's a wait and see as well. But I think whether the Flash does any major reboot and always the tool to enter into James Gunn's new universe is a question, like a question that a lot of people have. And James Gunn might give us an answer come the beginning of next year, because he said he's going to reveal some movies that are going to be coming out, or the first movies under his new slate. So maybe it gives us an inkling as to when certain things start, and if the movies coming out next year are going to be relevant in that process in his world going forward. Now, the big thing for next year, and whatever James Gunn, like his big announcement next, is if James Gunn does confirm a complete reboot before most of the movies, if not all of the movies, start coming out, are they DOA or dead on arrival? And to some people, maybe. Like, there'll be people going, well, why would I bother watching that movie? Because they want to watch only stuff that's relevant, if that makes sense. Oh, it's not relevant to this universe or the universe going forward for the next handful of years. Why would I waste my money on it? Or, you know, I'll just wait for it to come out on streaming on HBO Max or something. I'm not going to spend my $10, $15, $20, whatever it might be. So it's not going to contribute to the box office numbers. So not going to help the movie in any way. So in regards to box office numbers, to some people, they are dead on arrival and they're not going to help those numbers out. But it's important to remember they still are movies that are made to entertain people, that exist, and that you can go to the cinema and watch. And people will just be like, oh, what's on? I feel like going to the movies. Oh, okay, Shazam 2's on. Let's go watch that. So that's still going to be the case. It's just whether there's a lot of buzz and word of mouth to push people into the cinemas. Like, that's another question. It's also just whether they like the movie set up stuff as well in those movies. That would be things that people question. It's like, oh, Shazam's setting up this storyline, but I don't know if that's going to play in. Or Flash is setting something up with Ezra Miller's Flash, and I don't know if that's going to play out. So that could worry people about committing, if that makes sense. But, you know, people still watch the Snyder Cut, for example, and, you know, with most knowing it wasn't going anywhere. So, but then again, on the negative side, there are those examples of those like later Fox X-Men films where everyone knew Disney was getting the rights and those characters most likely would not be staying, and people just did not overly support them. Like that last proper X-Men movie, I think, flopped. And then I think you had, was it New Mutants, and was there something else? So like that's probably not a good omen if like if you're basing off like audiences and what they want to commit to and or not commit to. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on all the stuff we went over in this video and your thoughts. Would you still go see all these movies, or most of them, even if they were made redundant, if you want to call, like they weren't going to play into James Gunn's new thing? Or would you just wait till they're on streaming, like on HBO Max or whatever it might be? Let me know your thoughts down there. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.